Taoiseach, in November 2009, the Fine Gael party published a document entitled New Era, and the then Deputy Simon Coveney was responsible for the party in developing that policy framework. He had a lot of people working with him, they delivered this document in particular with relevance to the establishment of Irish Water, because without any equivocation it says that Fine Gael would bring all of Ireland's water assets under the ownership of one state company. And it even named it then, back in 2009, it named it Irish Water, and said that local authorities would be its agents and so forth. And this was before Troika, before anything. This was a clear policy perspective that Fine Gael was bringing to the table. Now, we've learned today, through Deputy Fergus O'Dowd and the Minister responsible for the legislation which introduced Irish Water and put it on a statutory basis, he said today that Irish Water was, quote, an unmitigated disaster. It had abjectly failed. It was arrogant and uncaring. Low-income groups were paying too much, he said, and the ban should have been widened, and ability to pay should have been a factor. And in particular, unemployed people were being crucified by the charge itself. He said people felt angry and intimidated by the sign-up packs that were sent out and the request for PPS numbers. He said there was an intense, to use his own words, an intense dislike of the entire process.
Thank you.
Now, Taoiseach, you've become quite good at the understatement. You interpreted all of that as merely Deputy O'Dowd making a point that there was a need for better communications. I think that's what you said this morning, and maybe more engagement with the community. I would suggest it's far more than that, Taoiseach, and goes to the heart of the issue. And what I want to ask you is, do you agree with what Deputy O'Dowd has said in relation to Irish Water, that it is an unmitigated disaster, that it is an abject failure? Do you accept that the ability to pay concept should be central to the water charges regime, and that being implemented by Irish Water?
Thank you.
And will you take finally then steps to ensure that the poverty analysis that was referenced by Deputy O'Dowd this morning on Morning Ireland in relation to the impact of all of this on low-income groups, will you take steps to make sure that that would be published so that we could all read it?
No, I don't agree with Deputy O'Dowd. I don't agree with Deputy O'Dowd's comment that Irish Water is an unmitigated disaster. I do agree that Irish Water certainly had teething problems during the course of it being set up. I also agree that Irish Water is here to stay, that it is an absolutely fundamental concept and an entity to deal with the situation that was allowed to develop for very many years in this country, where we're paying 1.2 billion to produce water, 40% of which leaks away, many dozens of treatment plants that are inferior, many kilometres of pipework that is not fit for purpose, and 20,000 people having to live with boiled water notices on a regular basis. Deputy Martin is well aware this can only be achieved by having an entity that can borrow money to invest in this off the state payroll, as it were, in order to provide for the future, for business, for people, and for consumer. Water is a very precious commodity. Obviously, given our geography and our location, we are blessed with an abundant supply of water. The situation that has pertained for so many years could not continue. I'm the first to say, of course, that Irish Water had teething problems in its being set up. Everybody understands that. And there's always a need for clearer communication about the issues that are involved and who pays what and how you can pay and all of that. Government have already set out a number of policy directions to the regulator, and they include the average metered water charge, the allowance per household and the allowance per child. And that's been followed by other announcements in respect of facilities and further contributions for those who receive the household package, for those who have particular medical ailments who might require lots of water, and that the charge there is capped. So I don't accept the Deputy's assertion. Irish Water is here to stay. It is a fundamentally important state agency held in public ownership for the development and for the good of the country. Unlike the situation, I might add, where you yourself supported the Irish water concept, but you had an average charge of 400 with no allowances at all. In other words, you're a little bit like St. Augustine, you know, like you wanted, but not just now. So the point is, Irish water is here to stay. The government will move now with a number of other proposals for the amalgamation of both GOSH and Irish water into Ervia with appropriate competency to run what is one of the largest entities since the foundation of the state. The fundamentally important issue, like water, for personal, social, economic and development of our nation as a place fit to invest in, fit to live in, by having quality water at its core.
Thank you. Deputy Marshal, 1 minute. Deputy Marshal, would you ever ask your friend beside you there, would he ever stay quiet, please, and let you get on with your question? I can't control it. Maybe you can. Okay.
Welcome back, young Curler.
Thank you.
Could I just say, Taoiseach, that I love your sense of the English language, that when a former minister of your government says something is an unmitigated disaster, abject failure, intense dislike of the process, people feel angry and intimidated, you say, yeah, it had teething problems. I mean, that's what you say. These aren't teething problems, Taoiseach. And I would say to you, on the health area, for example, there is utter confusion out there on the doorstep about health. People with all sorts of ailments simply do not know where they stand now in relation to water. Families then, Taoiseach, I would respectfully suggest to you that families with 2 or 3 adult children, as they're termed, these would be over 18 in full-time education or unemployed, are facing bills of up to 500 to 590. No mitigation, nothing to alleviate that impact. That is excessive by any stretch of the imagination on a particular type of family.
Question, please.
And secondly, Deputy O'Dowd correctly points to the unemployed and points to low-paid workers. Well, I do, in terms of low-paid workers. The household benefits package doesn't cover any of those. And it's excessive. And he is correct in his analysis. And he said there was actually a poverty analysis done within the department. And we haven't seen the light of it. I haven't seen it.
Did you put your question?
Everybody knows consumption taxes like this are regressive and will disproportionately hit people on low income. I put this to Deputy Burton, Taoiseach, and it just went water off a duck's back, didn't have any impact at all. I thought it might have. So the bottom line, Taoiseach, is there are fundamental issues that have gone wrong here. And Deputy O'Dowd, at least he's honest that he's left office. And he's said what he now believes. He perhaps felt he couldn't say it when he was in office. And I think you should take heed of it. And I don't think you should be dismissing it as likely as you are.
Taoiseach, thank you.
I'm not dismissing it. I've admitted that obviously there were teething problems with the setting up of Irish water. Former Deputy O'Dowd was the minister dealing with the setting up of it. He was dealing with the New Era and piloting that bill through the House here. Perhaps if some of these things had been brought to his attention, then he might have been able to change them before it actually came through. But I'd say this to you. The water regulator has now determined, Deputy Martin, that the average bill will be less than €240 per year. They further confirm that 80% of all bills, will be less than €24 per month. And we also welcome the fact that the regulator have adhered to the government's direction that there be a free allowance of 30,000 per household for water usage and allowance for every child under 18. Now, you know, as I said to you before, a person living alone will have approximately 40% of their water needs provided by that allowance, and they will pay around €138 per annum, or less than 50 cents per day. Now, all 411,000 recipients of the household benefits package, they are pensioners, they are carers, they are disability recipients, will receive an additional €100 per year to assist with water costs. And as I said, charges will be capped for people with particular medical ailments. People with boil water notices will not have to pay for their water supply after 24 hours until the notice is lifted. And these reforms are essential for future provision of quality water services following the debacle that went on for years. I'd also make the point to you that in respect of the pay situation, the regulator has ordered and instructed that Irish Water reduce its cost base by €170 million, or 8%, by 2016, which includes a substantial element of the pay situation involved there.
Thank you.